Longest active streak in the NBA, and matter of fact, it's their third 7-game win streak of the season. That's good for most in the NBA. They're now just 2 wins away from owning the top 3 longest streaks this season.
Now we go to the Lakers and the Bucks, and this is Andre Drummond's debut with the Lakers. And hey, how's this for a draw? Go up against Giannis. This didn't really go according to plan. Starting with, this, getting dunked on or about the face by Giannis. That tied the game at 45. Then Giannis loses the ball, but he gets it back and then going to make up for his mistake with the dunk. The Bucks outscored the Lakers by 14 in the second quarter. They were up 8 at the break. In the third, Bucks up 6. Brook Lopez gets that to go. And then watch Drew Holiday stealing. So that's 4 quick points for the Bucks. Holiday, by the way, 28 points. Bucks up 11 then. And guess what? They're just going to now pull away. Giannis had 25 points and 10 rebounds. Andre Drummond, by the way, right big toe contusion. Translation, he lost his whole toenail?
No.
Said he couldn't walk or run. I know it's breakfast. I'm sorry. He was asked post-game, what do you even do for a toe? He hopes the trainers can figure it out. Bucks get the win, 112-97. Drummond's debut, 4 points, and of course the toe boo-boo.
First quarter when I came out, Brook had stepped on my foot. And, I didn't really think anything of it. I came back in the second quarter. It was hurting a little bit more. And then after halftime, I finally took my sock off to look, and my whole toenail was gone. So it was just all bad from there. I couldn't walk or run, so I just told coach to take me out. I was definitely very happy to see that it was a negative result on the X-ray. So it's just a day by day, just icing it, taking care of it, making sure I get it wrapped up to, seal the missing toenail that's not there.
It's a lot of talk we don't need at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. or whatever time. Kendrick Perkins is back with us. What did you see before the toe nastiness from Andre Drummond?
Well, you know what? I was pretty pleased because this is what people have to realize. Andre Drummond hadn't played basketball for almost a month and a half. It's hard to get your rhythm. So I was just watching to see how he was going to be able to move and get up and down the court, his lateral movement. And I was pleased. And if I'm the Lakers fan, I would not panic over this one game. He looked fairly well. He's going to gain his athleticism back. He's going to be key for the Lakers when Anthony Davis and LeBron James get back. So he's going to work his way back into rhythm, work his way back into shape, because God knows they need it. Because the others, the way that they was breaking shots last night so hard off the rim in the backboard, hey, I started ducking. I started ducking from inside my hotel room because I thought the ball was about to hit me. So Andre Drummond is going to do well for them. They need him really, really bad, and he's going to continue to get better as he get his rhythm back.
Yeah, he says he needs to get into the basketball shape, but he says he feels like overall he's in the best shape of his entire life. The Lakers do face the Kings. That is tomorrow night, but keep in mind Sacramento has won 5 of their last 6.
Well, you just got to remember, before James Harden got on this team struggled with an offensive identity, and James Harden brought that to him. He is their offensive identity. When you look at him, he is one of the best facilitators in the game today, the best EG in my eyes in the game today. He makes the game so much easier for everybody else. We all know that Kyrie Irving could get his own shot, but he makes it easier for Joe Harris, for Brown, for Claxton, DeAndre Jordan, Jeff Green, those guys to get easy look because he draws so much attention and he's so great at making plays. And this is why he leads the league in assists.
I like how he referred to him as Joe Harris. It's not actually beef jerky, Joe. The Nets do host the Hornets tonight. Harden's status for that game is TBD. Stand by.
James or Anthony Davis for the Lakers, but Andre Drummond made his LA debut Wednesday. He was in the starting lineup in place of Marc Gasol against the Bucks. Drummond hadn't played since February 12th. Cavs sat him while they were looking for a trade. Says he lost 10 to 15 pounds while he was out. Drummond kicking it out to Dennis Schroeder, who scored 17, but it took him 18 shots to get him. Later in the first, Markieff Morris, wide open, knocks that down. He had 15. Lakers, 8 threes in the first quarter, their most in any quarter this season. That's the good news. Bad news is they made just 2 more the rest of the game. They went 10 for 36. They were up by 6 at the end of the first. Here comes Giannis Antetokounmpo going at Drummond. tying the game at 45. Later, Bucks up 2. Antetokounmpo loses the ball, gets it back, and dunks it. Bucks outscored the Lakers by 14 in the second. They were up 8 at the break. Third quarter, Bucks by 6. Brook Lopez. Pick and roll, gets that to fall. Lakers go to inbound the ball. But Drew Holiday's waiting for him. Holiday, 28 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists. Quick 4 points for Milwaukee. And then Antetokounmpo stays with the plate. It actually bounced right back to him. Bucks pulling away up 13, and then Drummond limps back to the locker room with a right big toe contusion. Did not return. Scored 4 points in 14 minutes. Fourth quarter now, Bucks by 10. Chris Middleton up top. Antetokounmpo, 6 assists, 17 points for Middleton. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks for Antetokounmpo. Bucks win it 112-97. Afterwards, here's Drummond on the little piggy that ended his night.
In the first quarter when I came out, Brooke had stepped on my foot. And, I didn't really think anything of it. I came back in the second quarter. It was hurting a little bit more. And then after halftime, I finally took my sock off to look, and my whole toenail was gone. So it was just all bad from there. I couldn't walk or run, so I just told coach to take me out. I was definitely very happy to see that it was a negative result on the X-ray. So it's just a day by day, just icing it, taking care of it, making sure I get it wrapped up to seal the missing toenail that's not there.
Ugh. Lack of playing time resulted in one of the more unproductive games of Drummond's career. But then you have all 10 of your toenails. He finished with a season low 14 minutes, and his 4 points matches a season low. Wednesday, just the 4th game in his career in which he finished with 1 or 0 rebounds. Now, I'm all for solid journalism, but we don't need to see the toe.
Get right to it. Drummond to the Lakers. What does this mean for the Los Angeles Lakers in your mind?
Stephen A., I thought you were setting up an argument for the two of us until I heard your reasoning play out when you said you don't like it, you love it. I love it too. Stephen A., when you have this kind of size and strength, it makes the whole team, they should just stand taller. Because you mentioned the rebounding. Drummond is one of the top 10 rebounders ever. So I'm going to upset the analytics people. You don't need to go numbers. You look at the way he plays. LeBron James figures out the style of play he needs to resort to, no matter who's around him. So we got this short period of time to adjust. Who better to have than LeBron James figure that out first and then get Drummond to see the possibilities. So with Anthony Davis and LeBron back, now they got to be back healthy, Stephen A. If they're limping through the final month of the season, I don't know that even Drummond can help them. But if they are healthy and you've got Drummond, to me, the Lakers stay in that favored spot. No matter what the standings say, they stay in that favored spot in the Western Conference.
The temptation, obviously, is to look at the Brooklyn Nets and talk about this collision course that seems inevitable between them and the Los Angeles Lakers. But then you have to think about the Western Conference with Utah, with Denver, Dallas, Portland, Clippers, the Phoenix Suns. The list goes on and on. Who do you view as the biggest threat to the Lakers in the West right now?
Stephen A., with this Aaron Gordon acquisition, I may be putting Denver back in that spot. I think not only do we see strategically how it improves them after losing Grant, now coming with a different type of person in that position, who's a little bit more of a playmaker, bigger, stronger, can also defend. I think even though Denver had lost 6 players from last year's conference final roster, I think I'm going to slide Denver back in there. And that's hard for me to do because I like what Utah's done the whole time. You know how high I am, how bullish I am on the Phoenix Suns. And the Clippers are there. But I'm going to say Denver because I think this picks up that entire team and gives them what they need to get back in the conference finals. Stephen A., that's going to be a war. I think all 4 of those teams, and I believe you believe this too, each one of those teams is a threat to the Lakers, particularly if LeBron and AD are even a fraction off. That's all you need for one of those 4 teams to slip in.
But I'm not as nice as you. You hesitate to call teams out and just put the nail in their coffin. I do not. I'm not worried about anything in the West if the Lakers are healthy. It's just that simple. I'll be back with you in a second. The Mavs and Celtics will tip off first on ESPN, obviously. Luka Doncic had a team-high 25 points in a win over OKC Monday night. Dallas is currently 7th in the West. Back on February 10th, when the Mavericks were near the bottom of the West, I caught up with Luka Doncic on Stephen A's World.
I think this season, I'm not playing very good, but, that's what I'm saying. I got to prove a lot of things and just keep getting better and better.
Did you just say you're not playing very good? Did I hear you correctly? Did you just say you're not playing very good?
Yeah.
You're averaging 27, 9, and 9. You do understand that, right?
He's 45 starts there. Let's bring in SportsCenter with Stephen A. Smith coming up at the top of the hour, and the man himself joining us now on SportsCenter. And Stephen A., one of the big stories around the association, the Nets, they've added Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge recently to that big three. How are they going to fit together and succeed on the same rosters when they're all eventually on the same court?
Well, I think it's relatively easy because they're not a number one, a number two, or even another three option on the offensive end of the floor. We all know who that belongs to: KD, Kyrie, and James Harden, and everybody else just fits in. As a matter of fact, I could make a legitimate argument. They're not even a fourth option because they shouldn't come before Joe Harris, who happens to be able to hit perimeter shots. They're additional big bodies to add behind DeAndre Jordan. They can come in the lineup and spell for him, for Jeff Green and others. When you look at Jeff Green and the way that he's capable of playing, the versatility on both ends of the floor, he's definitely going to be a signature individual. So when you look at Blake Griffin and you look at LaMarcus Aldridge, they can come in and it basically buffers and secures your front line. You know you'll always be able to have a big body in there to guard potential fours and fives. Outside of that, they find their baskets when KD, Kyrie, or James Harden allows them to find their basket. Outside of that, be happy you're there.
Okay, you mentioned big bodies here. Let's go to the Western Conference where Andre Drummond, he'll start in his Lakers debut against the Bucks, and they're also dealing with injuries surrounding LeBron and AD. How do you see Drummond impacting this Lakers team moving forward?
Oh, I think he's going to have a profound impact as far as I'm concerned. His impact is going to be more significant than Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge combined for this particular reason. Not only is Anthony Davis hurt and we're waiting for him to come back, praying and hoping that he'll come back 100%, but it's also one of those situations when you look at Andre Drummond, he's a career 13.7 rebound per game player. This is what he does. He grabs nearly 5 offensive rebounds a game. So on the defensive side of the ball, he helps limit you to one shot because he's crashing the boards. On the offensive end, he's helping to create other opportunities for you because he's crashing the boards and grabbing rebounds on that level as well. So when you look at it from that perspective, just imagine that LeBron James, a healthy and arrested LeBron James, is back in the lineup with some of the other pieces that they get, particularly and especially if Anthony Davis comes back. You have an individual that allows them to maintain a size advantage over most teams with their front line, buffers their defense because he's capable of blocking shots and he's got good foot movement, just like Anthony Davis is. Anthony Davis is on an elite level. But if you look at it from that perspective and you combine that with the fact that he's a rebounding demon, able to give their offense even more opportunities